Hello everyone, how's it going? Hope you're having a wonderful day. So Wuchang Fallen Feathers. This is the recent Souls-like that just came out today. It's on Game Pass, major platforms, and for the most part it's gotten average reviews. A lot of people say it's an okay game, nothing really spectacular about it. It has all the bells and whistles. It's great art direction, visual design is really well done, and the combat has a lot of layers to it. However, on the PC platform, despite having a peak of over 100,000 players, right now a lot of people are dropping off, which seems quite alarming. I mean, granted, it's not the weekend yet. Usually people wait until the weekend to play these types of games because it is a Souls-like, so it's probably going to be a little difficult. But I've heard people say, like, the difficulty spikes in certain sections, but it ensures that the player uses all the tools to their advantage, so you can make the game as difficult or easy depending on your playstyle, but it does encourage experimentation where you can use certain aspects to just make the game super easy. Like, one boss is weak against magic, just use magic attacks. One is weak against poise, where you can just create a build where your character just never stutters, which just decimates certain bosses. But on PC, it has a mostly negative rating, and the reason being, it's unfortunately another bad PC port. Now, this isn't exactly new for a lot of PC gamers. Usually what game developers make a game, they make it for the lowest common denominator, and usually PC is the highest common denominator when it comes to game performance, because there's so many variables that they have to take into consideration. Different video cards, processors, how much RAM someone has, it varies from person to person. So it's a lot difficult to make something for PC as opposed to console, where the entire build, whether you're in America, Europe, Africa, wherever, the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, they all have the same architecture. That's kind of what I've gotten from when I talk to developers about this. And yeah, you can see here unstable, another Unreal Engine 5 is also extremely buggy. Like, anytime people hear Unreal Engine 5, they just think it's going to look very pretty, but it's going to be extremely buggy, which, yeah, usually the case. And even people who have good experiences with the game say its performance. Now, this isn't anything new. Like, the Callisto Protocol is one that comes to my mind, where it was a terrible PC port, but even though the game wasn't that good, at least it ran well on consoles. Another example that comes to the top of my head is Dishonored 2. Dishonored 2 was actually a horrible PC port that people were just like, do not buy this game, despite Dishonored 2 being absolutely spectacular. It was better than the original game in a lot of ways, but I kind of wish they kept the original storyline. I won't get into that, but yeah, it was a good game, but it had a terrible PC port. Dark Souls also had a terrible PC port. It was so bad that the community came in to fix it, and basically for you to play this game on PC, you need to install this mod, essentially something that's third party, just to get the game to run correctly. Now, granted, this does happen with older games, but this was at launch for the game, and it also happened with Dark Souls 2, and I'm not sure with Dark Souls 3, but yeah, this is a common issue. And when it comes to older games, usually the community comes together to create mods to fix the games, like with Final Fantasy X, where the cinematics are completely out of date because they have this green screen effect unless you download a mod in order to fix it. I don't know why Square Enix doesn't fix this. I mean, they literally had an anniversary celebration for Final Fantasy X. The least they can do is go in and, fix this issue. But, I digress. Sony's also had a lot of issues with PC ports, with The Last of Us PC port being absolutely horrible. Thankfully, the Part 2's PC release was actually pretty good according to people. I never bought it because I've already platinumed The Last of Us more times than I can count. And then there was also the Horizon Zero Dawn, which, again, this PC port was absolutely terrible. Apparently it was an alpha build of the game. Like, it was not even a finished build of the game. At least that's what it came out as a rumor from one of the developers, but that's hearsay. It's never been fully proven as far as I can tell. But they did fix it for Forbidden West. Thankfully, that game launched in a working state. And then Capcom also did this with Monster Hunter Wilds, which the PC port was simply unacceptable. So my just theory about this, or you can just say this as fact, is that they just rush out these PC ports despite the fact they need more time to develop. That's why with Rockstar, they're not releasing GTA 6 when it comes out on console on PC as well. They wait time in order to see all the bugs and issues, and they usually release it in a better state. At least that's my hypothesis. Like, look, yes, PC ports should release alongside with consoles, and there have been situations where the reverse were true, where the PC port was good but the console version was crappy. So my opinion is just like, instead of trying to make a quick buck and taking the hit to your reputation, just delay it until the version is ready. And if you don't want to delay one version, just delay both versions. Granted, that does cost money, and I'm certain they have a lot of accountants who weigh the pros and cons of both, but this just does even more damage to your reputation, because usually the height of sales for games come out within the month of the game's release. So when that month is over, sales usually stagnate or they drop, because most of the people who wanted to buy the game already bought it. It's the same thing that happened with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Final Fantasy 16. A lot of people were reporting that the game sold poorly despite being ported to other platforms, and that's because everyone who wanted to play those games bought a PlayStation to play those games. Everyone is just basically an afterthought at this point, so of course sales aren't going to be so high anymore. Everyone's already seen what Final Fantasy 16 is all about, either on YouTube, word of mouth, etc. And the big driving force of those games is the narrative. Granted, the combat is awesome. I loved Final Fantasy 16. I loved Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I felt like it was neglected at the Game Awards. Like, that was my game of the year. But I digress. I really think that this just does more harm than good for your reputation, and when PC players see this, they're just gonna be like, you know what, I'll just wait until this game is like discounted to $20, maybe 15, and you lose a large portion of your sales because people just gonna wait for a discounted price, as opposed to people buying it right off the bat, like with Stellar Blade, which had let's look at Stellar Blade, which is also another incredible game. Stellar Blade, yeah. Like, it peaked at over 100k players. Right now, not a lot of people are playing it because it's a single-player game. But regardless, this game had a lot of positive appeal to it, and it was because it launched in a good state. Imagine that. You launch a game in a good state, people wait and see, and they're like, oh, the game is really good. I'm going to buy it anyway. So, yeah, I guess that kind of also makes a issue into my argument about Final Fantasy, but in that case, like, let's face who people buy Stellar Blade for. They bought it for the mods. And the mods have been crazy for this game. Either way, this is also a very good game. I highly recommend it. I got the Platinum on PlayStation. It's a really good game, especially if you like sci-fi apocalypse. If you like Nier, highly recommend it. Either way, I really think this was the bad choice. They should have delayed the PC version of the game until they resolved all the issues, or, this is another maybe bad take for me, release the demo, like, just like at the first stage or something, and just have people like play that and, get data from that to try and make the game better. I think that would actually have been a little better, because you could have been like, hey, the PC version isn't ready yet, we need some more testing data, can you play the demo, try and break the game and see what works and what doesn't. I think that would have been a compromise at least, because releasing a fully priced game in this broken state, it's just not acceptable anymore, and it just hurts your reputation in the bottom line. But that's my opinion on it. Tell me your comments in the comments below. I love to hear other people's opinions. That's it from me. Like, dislike, your choice. Goodbye. Have a good day.